Hey guys, it's Stacy from My Petite Garden. Thank you so much for watching this video. So lately I've been kind of downsizing my plant collection. I don't know if you guys noticed that my plant shelves are kind of thinning out a bit. And I feel like the purpose for this personally is just I kind of want to be able to care for each of my plants in a way that I can appreciate them at the same time and also not overwhelm myself, and also have a more curated collection. So that was my thought process behind like thinning out my collection. So I've sold a lot of my plants, I've passed them on to friends, etc. And I feel like at the same time it might be better for the plants as well, because they can be better appreciated by someone who might love them a little bit more than I can right now. So yeah, that was what the thought process was behind me kind of downsizing my plant collection. So I think at a height I had about close to 200 houseplants in my apartment, and then now I think I haven't done a count yet since I've downsized, but maybe closer to 100 now. So fingers crossed I can kind of keep this going. I still want to like curate it a little bit more, but we'll see. So yeah, this got me thinking that how fun would it be to make a capsule plant collection. I know some of you guys have probably heard of the capsule wardrobe, but I was like, how fun would it be if we were to have a capsule plant collection? What plants would you put in that capsule? You know, like if I were to pick 10 plants to put into a capsule, what would those 10 plants be? So it got me thinking, and I thought, you know what, let's make a video and I can share with you guys. And I'd love to hear from you guys as well. If you were to have a capsule plant collection, what are the plants that you would put into that capsule? Yeah, so I hope you guys share your thoughts with me, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so the first one that I'm gonna add to my capsule would be my Hoya Compacta Variegata. I love this plant, and it's also one of the very first plants that I ever bought for myself way back when I first started collecting plants, and it's always been a very easy one for me. This one here that you're seeing is a larger plant that I have growing in Lactea. It's been pretty carefree for me. Just water when dry, and I give it a good amount of light, some just bright indirect light. And yeah, the new growth comes out this pretty pink color, and it slowly fades into a cream color. So this is definitely one that I would bring on my little collection if I were to have one. The next plant that I'm gonna add to my list is the Euphorbia Lactea Variegata. This is the only Euphorbia that I have in my collection, and I've had this dragon bone Euphorbia for a really long time now. This one, and I also have one in the bedroom that have been with me for years now, and they actually started off much smaller than what they are today, and I absolutely love them. The structure of them is beautiful, and I think the plants that I'm going to select for my capsule collection would definitely include a lot of different textures, structures, and plants that can add a lot to my plant space. And euphorbias themselves are pretty easy care. You treat them like cacti pretty much. Don't need a lot of watering at all, and in the winter time you could probably just skip watering altogether. So it's a very easy care one. And here's the one that is in my bedroom. This is actually the first one that I got of the dragonbone euphorbias, and then I just kind of fell in love with the structure and the growth pattern of it, so I went ahead and got the other two that's currently in my living room. And they've all come such a long way since I first got them. Okay, so next is the Ceropegia Woodii Variegated, which is the variegated string of hearts. I think this is probably a favorite of many people, including myself. The cute little hearts with the pink and white margins are just too cute to pass on. So this is definitely one that I would add to a capsule plant collection. The one that you're seeing here is actually a propagation project of mine from my mother plant, and I actually really like the way this one turned out. The little hearts are just so perky, and they're almost a little bit rounder than what you would normally see, and definitely rounder than the hearts on my mother plant. So they're like baby hearts, which is really adorable. This is my Stephania Erecta, and this is a Caldex type plant, so it does go into dormancy during the winter time, which is not always a bad thing, because come spring and summer you'll see some sprouting and you'll get some new growth, and each year it grows back a little bit differently. So what you see here on my plant, the way the stem is growing, the leaves and the number of leaves, it's completely different from what it gave me the prior year. So it's a little bit of a surprise each year, which is always fun. And I feel like this type of Caldex plant is like a minimalist's dream plant, because I don't know why, it just reminds me of a very minimal type plant, if there was ever such a thing. This is the Neon Pothos, and this will be the 5th plant that I'll be adding to my capsule plant collection. Funny story is that I've been wanting to get this plant for such a long time, and I actually didn't get to do that until this summer. And I'm so glad I did, because it is so easy to care for, and also it adds such a nice pop of color to any plant space. So I'm really enjoying this one, and now that I have it, I can't imagine being without it. And as with any type of pothos, it's quite easy to care for, doesn't require much, and I noticed that it actually lets you know when it needs watering, so the leaves kind of start to droop a bit, which is always nice when they can tell you, hey, listen, I need some water. So this is definitely a very, very easy one, and I highly recommend it for beginners, experts, whatever. I think everyone can enjoy a neon pothos in their collection. The next plant that I'm going to add is the Philodendron Pink Princess. This is honestly one of my favorite plants and one of my ride or die plants, in the sense that this guy has been with me for a very, very long time, before it even became this crazy popular plant. I absolutely love the variegation on this plant. To me, it just still amazes me that a plant can have such beautiful foliage. The pink variegation is just one of a kind, honestly. And I can see why so many people are so fond of this plant and why it's so highly sought after. Aside from it looking so beautiful, it is also very, very easy care. This one it doesn't need much attention, to be honest with you. This one here is growing in Lactea, and I just water it whenever, the reservoir gets depleted, and give it some medium to bright and direct light, and it's pretty happy. next one that I'm gonna add is the Hoya Chinghungensis. This is probably my favorite small-leafed Hoya right now, and as you can see, it has just adorable little foliage, and it's actually a little bit succulent too, which makes it that much cuter. The way the leaves grow is very unique. The pattern that it grows at, and you'll see during this clip that it kind of alternates between, you know, the way it grows from one leaf to the other, so it makes this kind of like chain pattern, which I think is really cool. And also very easygoing plant. I've never had any issues with this particular Hoya. I don't give it any extra humidity or anything. It doesn't seem to be bothered by that. And I give it, I would say, medium indirect light, and I'll just water it when it's dry. And I do have this Hoya growing in a terracotta, as with most of my other Hoyas, and he seems to be happy the way it is. Alright, we're up to number 8, and this is the Hoya Sunrise, and this will be the last Hoya that I'll be adding to my capsule plant collection. I think this comes as no surprise. You guys should know by now how much I love this Hoya. Aside from it being a very easy Hoya to take care of, I actually, you know, don't really need to worry much about this one because it does have very succulent leaves. It can withstand a bit of a drought, and also it can withstand kind of being right by the window where there's a lot of, you know, kind of bright and direct light, and sometimes a window can amplify that light. And it kind of takes it and turns it into this beautiful sun-stressed look on its foliage. I think this is one of the most beautiful sun-stressed Hoyas out there, if not my favorite, I think. Yeah, so that's definitely a huge reason why I would definitely add this to my capsule, and I do highly recommend this Hoya for beginners because it's very easy, like I said. And also, a plus is that I find that this Hoya ships extremely well. This is probably one of those Hoyas that I think if I were to, you know, ship from overseas or anywhere, I think this would be a Hoya that would do very well during transit, because it is a very hardy Hoya, so that's another plus. Alright, so the second to last plant that I'm gonna add is the Cissus Striata. This one you guys probably see me repot in a previous video, and I think this is such a darling little plant. I'm just in love with the foliage and the way it trails, and it's probably one of my favorite trailing plants, so that's why I chose this one to add to my capsule. This one is probably going to be the most quote-unquote high maintenance of all the plants that I selected in my capsule collection, and it's not by any means a difficult plant. It's just that it doesn't like to dry out for too long, so it does like to kind of stay that slightly consistently moist with the soil. So at the same time, it will let you know when it does need watering, because you'll notice that the leaves are starting to look a little bit droopy, so it's always good that they tell you, and that makes it a little less diva-ish, I guess. But I think my favorite part about this plant is the foliage. It just reminds me of dainty little stars that are dangling down, and I think that's what really attracts me to this plant. I also feel like it has just this really whimsical look to it, which is very unique. Okay, so we made it to the last one, and this might come as a little bit of a surprise. This is the Easter cactus. I actually really like the foliage on the Easter cactus, not so much the Thanksgiving or the Christmas cactus. And the reason is because the Easter cactus has this more rounded edged foliage. And I actually like this one so much that I ended up collecting all of the different varieties of the Easter cactus. So right now I have all the different colors, I believe. If I'm missing any, I don't know. I have the white, the orange reddish one, and then the kind of hot pink bloom. So yeah, this will round up the capsule collection that I would put together if I were to have one, and I think I'm pretty happy with this selection. And the Easter cactus is a nice way to round it out because I feel like it's one of those plants that not a lot of people talk about, but I feel like it adds so much to a collection and a plant space and to your home, and especially when it's blooming, it is so gorgeous. And if you guys haven't seen an Easter cactus bloom, you definitely need to. Hey guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and please remember to leave in the comments down below what plants you would select for your own capsule plant collection if you were to have one. I would love to hear your thoughts, and as always, thank you so much for all of your support, and if you haven't already, please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!